So one of my very favorite lessons is a digital animation lesson. And I find that you can teach digital animation or digital drawing or drawing online to anyone basically who can open up a computer screen and follow a couple of simple tasks or prompts, and anyone who is of age who has control of the mouse, control of the keyboard, and who can make like a couple of lines, make a couple of drawings. So for instance, I did a Mommy and Me PreK class several years ago, which was filled and we had a wait list. And the mom or the dad sat next to the child and they created online, and we went through the alphabet. So we first drew an A, and I would draw it up on the whiteboard on the big screen, and then they would draw an A, and then we would draw lots of A words like apple, and I would put a picture of an apple, of a drawn apple on the big screen, and they would make basically a big red ball, and then we would make a little green stem or a little green leaf and then a little brown stem, and they loved it. And then we would go on to B, and we would practice B, saying B, finding B on the keyboard, and drawing a banana. Okay, so let's go ahead and get File, New. And the first thing that we want to do is, do you see these little boxes over here to adjust our white piece of paper or our white canvas? Go ahead and hover on them and take them to 200 by 400. 200 by 400, okay? And now we're going to make our boxes. So we have a nice blank white canvas, 200 by 400. Now, come over here, and I just find boxes easier when we do our animation to keep track of our little frames that we need, and that's why we're going to go ahead and make them. So click on your box, and our color is black. And right from 0.0, go 100, go over to your 100, and end at your 200. And get it close. It does not have to be perfect. We are not looking for perfection. Okay, so there's a nice big square for us to use and to draw in. And so let's do another one, 100 by 200. If you're a math teacher, I've incorporated this into many math projects. And if you use a vector printer like a Cricut printer and cutter, I will show you how to use this with your vector printer too, because I love Cricut. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3 boxes. Let's make a fourth box. If you've read anything about animation, these are just little frames that we're making. And right away, I see that my 400 is sort of over here, and my box ends a little shy of 400. So I'm going to pull out my white canvas. And then the bad thing about Microsoft Paint is I can't select anything. Like, this is not a layer, so I can't select it. So I'm going to go ahead and just redraw this. And it's a little thick, but that's okay. We're not looking for perfection. Okay, so let's go ahead and save as, and let's do a car animation. So we'll save this as car animation 1. And I'm going to go ahead and save it to my desktop as a PNG file, which is just a file name. Save. Okay, now let's pick a brush. I'm just going to go ahead and pick a generic brush. If you want, you can fool around with these different brushes here. I have some kids that's all they do is just fool around with brushes, and that's fantastic. As long as they are happy and they're getting to that finish line of the project, they can use whatever brush they want. Now, I'm just drawing an uneven line that sort of goes up, up, and up across my 4 squares across my 4 animation frames. And don't worry about the fact that we've crossed these animation frames. What we're doing is we're going to show this frame, then this, then this, then this really fast. So it's going to look as if something is moving up this little hill that we created. So now go ahead and grab your fill bucket and let's make a nice bright blue sky. I love color. I love drawing in lots of color. And let's make a lighter green shade for the grass. Boom, boom, boom. Fabulous. And now let's go ahead and pick our brush again in black and let's draw a car. Now, I've drawn online for years. Please do not feel like this has to come so easily to you. It's just a rough drawing. It's a cartoon drawing. And basically I drew like a little box, and then this is the little window and a little wheel and a little wheel. And then this means its light is shining. And then this means that gas is coming out of its exhaust, and it gives the illusion of momentum. Okay, so there's our first little car, and it's going up the hill. Now in the second frame, I think I want to move it a little bit closer to the edge of the frame. Again, please don't feel like the car has to be in perfect proportions. And it's going over some bumps. So if it looks a little jaggedy, that's okay. It's going to add to the cartoon effect. There's the light. There's the window. I'm going to make a bigger, like sort of exhaust guy right there. Car. And then wheel. Wheel. Light. Ooh, that's a big exhaust. And then I don't like that, so I'm going to go ahead and get I erase that a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my fill bucket and just fill it in. That's the glorious thing of drawing online. You don't have to erase. You just have to draw over it, and you can do it as much as you want. No new pieces of paper, no frustration. You can also hit Control Z or undo, and that's so fabulous. Undo is like my best friend. Okay, and he's getting to the top of the hill. And there's the window, and there's some the exhaust. Oh, you can almost feel him stretching to get to the top of that hill. Okay, fantastic. Now, let's go ahead and color our car. So I want to make sure that the window is fully, the lines are attached here, and there are no little open spaces. If there are open spaces, your color will bleed. So if you see your color bleeding into other parts, then you know you have like a little open space somewhere. So I color it white. I'm going to color the windows white and the car red and the tires black. And I see some little spots of blue, and that's fine. So tires black. Then I pick red, body of the car red, body of the car red, body of the car red. Remember, if it's bleeding out anywhere, that just means that your lines aren't completely closed. And so zoom in and try and figure out where you have a little hole. White window, white window, white window. Fabulous. Okay, now another thing that will sort of lend us to look as if we're going uphill is if we have a little bird that is flying in the background. So let's make a little gray bird. Okay, and he's flying in the background. Okay, and don't worry if this crosses over, that's no big deal. All right, so now let's go ahead and save this. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is to go to LunaPic, because right now our car picture right here, it lives only on our computers. So it lives only on our individual computers. What we need to do is we need to upload it to a place that will give it an address so it can live online. And then we can point to that address and point to this picture. And then we will tell the picture to play in our CSS frame by frame by frame by frame. So it will look as if the car is moving up this hill. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is go to a website that actually lets us upload our picture so it lives online. So I like to go to www.lunapic.com. And once we're in lunapic.com, I go to upload. And now I have to find our car picture that we just drew. And I have lots of different pictures to choose from. So if I want to change this, I can. So here is my car animation 1. Okay, it's uploading. All right, there it is. There it's alive, it's online. Now, I want to go ahead and save it to um, a, a a place that will actually let me point to it and where it actually hosts this picture so it lives online. So I go to File, Host at Imgur, and voila. Now, Imgur gives me a bunch of different hosting codes. The hosting code that I'm most interested in is this image URL right here because it has my PNG, my picture file. And so it's taken the picture that has lived on my computer and now it puts it online. Awesome. Animation 1, save it. Now, we are going to go ahead and switch over to CodePen, and we're going to put this in CodePen, and we're going to show this, and it's going to show each frame by itself running over and over again in a loop, and we'll see the car look as if it's going from the left-hand side of our screen to the right and driving up the hill. Okay, so we saved this. Now let's open CodePen. So here I am in CodePen, and I go over here to my little icon, and I'm already logged in. So if you need to take a second and log in, that's great. I go to my icon, I click on it. There's my dashboard, my profile, new pen, new project, new collection. I want to go ahead and click on new pen. All right, so here's my HTML window, my CSS, my JS, my JavaScript. I'm just going to be using today my HTML and a little bit of CSS, and we're going to make that car move up a hill. Now, for my HTML, it's really super simple. The only class that we're going to be, or the only tag that we're going to be using today is a div tag, and we're going to be using a class called car. So let's go ahead and make our basic structure. So open bracket, exclamation point, doc type. And if all of this is looking like gobbledygook to you, please go back and look at some of my previous lessons, and I'll take you through this. HTML, close bracket, and we want to do head, title, is our bracket, my car animation, could be our title or whatever title you feel like putting there. Move that over a little bit, close my head tag, and let's go ahead and open up a body. And in our body, the only thing that we are using is that div tag. So div class equals car, end bracket, and then end our div tag here, and then end our body, and end our HTML tag. Fabulous. Okay, so we don't see anything yet. Okay, no problem. All right, so now CSS, this is going to be the real hero here of the day. And then in our CSS, we need basically eight little pieces of information. Width, height, background image, animation, keyframes, from to the background positions, and that's about it. Okay, so simple, simple, simple. And again, what we're trying to do is to give the illusion that those 4 frames are moving bam, bam, bam in a row and moving from left to right. And the car is driving up that hill. Okay, awesome. The thing we want to do is call this car class over here. So we do period car curly bracket. Okay, now in here is where we're going to put all of our code. The first code that we're going to use or the first attribute is width. And let's do 95 px. That means 95 pixels. So we want to call that that picture, and we want to call it by 95 pixels wide. And height, let's do 172 pixels high. Okay. And the next thing that we want to do is our background image. And that is where we're going to call our car. Background image URL. Now, so I typed out background dash image colon URL, and then it automatically gave me parentheses and quotes. So inside those quotes, I want to go over to my Lunapic browser here, and I'm going to highlight my image URL. So this is where my image lives, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight it, and I hit Control C on my keyboard, or I can right click and do copy using my mouse. And then I go back to CodePen and I do Control V or paste on my mouse. And right away I can see something, yay! And it is actually the beginning part of my cartoon strip right here. And it only is showing me, so it's not showing me all 4 screens, it's just showing me one screen. And that's what we want. We just want to see one screen at a time. Okay, so we've put in our background image, and that is where our picture lives on Imgur. And it gave us these little quotes and our parentheses. Now let's go ahead and put our semicolon. And the next thing we want to do is add animation, colon, play, 2S, that means 2 seconds, steps, parentheses 4, because we have 4 little frames. And then we want to type the word infinite because we want it to loop over and over again. And then we do a close curly bracket. And now we do the @ symbol and keyframes. And this is talking about those frames that we made earlier. So we have 4 little frames that our car is moving in, moving up a little steep hill. So we do @ keyframes play and open curly bracket from open curly bracket background dash position. And that's going to be 0 px, so 0 pixels. And then we're going to do semicolon, close our bracket. And oh, it's starting to move. I see it moving to open curly bracket background dash position. This is where our car is moving to. And we put negative, oops, and we put negative 400 px. That's where it's moving to, semicolon. And yay, we see it moving. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Do you see our car climbing up the hill right here? Fantastic. Great job. So let's go ahead and hit save. And in our settings, if you haven't done this already, go to settings and type car animation with your initials and your student number if you have one, just to make sure your teacher knows exactly whose this is if you are doing this in class, and then hit save and close. And there's your first little animation. Now, I hope your imaginations are running wild and you're thinking about all kinds of other animations that you can put in here. So all you have to do is go back into Paint and draw a strip of 4, and anything you put in here, you can make move right here with really super simple lines of code.